Are you ready?
To get an encore at Wacken is goosebumps.
Yeah.
To see a lady with Indian flag on shoulder of another guy in the crowd is goosebumps.
Yes.
When you're entering the whole concert area, finding people wearing your t-shirts and waving your Bloodywood flag is goosebumps. To meet people in the subway, in the train, across Europe who know you.
Yeah.
To meet the people who put a comment on your video in real life for the band was just a huge story to be talked about. When they got this invite, they had never performed live.
Performing live and recording in a studio are two extremely different things.
Again,
Like
yes.
when you play in a recording studio, the guitarist can come in the morning, the vocalist can come in the evening, the drummer can do his separate thing from home, and the mixing will put it all together. The live thing is very real, and to be able to pull off
Correct.
live takes a different level of effort and practice.
They probably have more fans outside of India than within India. The band is Bloodywood. They created these Bollywood parodies. My guess is that's why the Bloodywood was like, Bollywood.
The music particularly, I found it quite captivating. Like as soon as the dhol begins against like a wall of sound, that the metal guitar, amazing. The dhol sound really did it for me, and then the message itself so empowering.
During COVID, a lot of people heard these songs in isolation. And if you look, so many comments are by people who were fighting mental health problems.
And it's been a really rough time. And Veerey was my go-to song when I was feeling good to empower me, and when I was feeling bad to drag me out.
And in Europe, they came across people who could relate to the band. They could relate to the artist. I think that is the power of music.
There is that deliberate feeling of finding peace, but then also
Wow.
finding that power within to fight back, to face what you're facing and then just go head on.
That song, Dhanadhan, it has a very strong social message about harassment, rape. If you look at the comments, so many people coming out to talk about their story.
That song emotionally helped a lot of people cope with it. It had a massive cathartic effect on so many people.
I'm not an Indian, but I resonate with a lot of these lyrics. I was groped by a man in a mall in front of my mother, who later denied what had happened to my face. Victims of rape should no longer be nameless, faceless numbers. And saying it's nice to know that metal is a universal language. Multiple studies talk about how metalheads are the happiest people. They have a platform to vent out, and they have this community feeling. And there has been resurgence of metal globally. Multiple artists are fusing their own regional and local sounds over the metal theme in Mongolia, in New Zealand, in Japan, in South America, and in India, like Avial, Thaikkudam Bridge. They have beautifully mixed folk songs of India with the global metal stage. This gave an avenue to vent out their feelings when there was nobody to talk to, nobody to meet, no place to go to. And you are with music, and the metal sound just does that. It is something which comes from deep within, hits you hard.
My only request to people who are seeing this or listening to this is give this sound a chance. Go behind the loudness and the noise and listen to the feeling. Listen to the message that is being conveyed. Listen to what it's trying to shout in your ears, which probably wouldn't land if they would say it nicely. All right, welcome back to another Music Gravy discussion, guys. So today we have Akhil Gupta, aka Gupat from Brussels. Then today he's going to take us through something very exciting. And then we also have Yasir from our own Indore. And I'm Varun, joining from Singapore. It's late evening my time, but we are going to have some fun chat. So आज का जो topic है, it's kind of in line with the theme we have been anyway talking about for some time. It's about bringing out something which is core to regional India, but then it takes on interesting sensibilities from international music scene and builds on to the goods from both parts. So without giving away much, I think Gupak has a phenomenal session planned out, and it should be a topic of interest for anybody who grew up in the 90s, because bands like Iron Maiden and Metallica, and these were top of the mind for all of us. So Gupak, over to you.
Thanks, Varun. So today I'm like super excited to talk about a band I wanted to talk since some time. And it is very interesting. On one side, it is like a nostalgic trip to the metal days of college. Jab headbanging was the craze, mosh pits, big concerts, palace grounds. एक वो mood है. At the same time, as Varun is saying, that there is a very genuine, honest folk rock mix coming from the new sound of India. The traditional and the new sound is overlaid over the metal sound in a very unique way. And here is a band which has even recently covered by BBC, Vice News, and it's one of the most, probably the biggest band within India people might not have heard about, and they probably have more fans outside of India than within India. So I'll just want to show a very small clip to give the mood and that the global fan following this band has. The band is called Bloodywood, which is an interesting take on Bollywood, and I'll come to that, how that name also came. So let's look at a very quick short clip and talk more about the band.
Righty.
So here is a small clip that is very interesting.
We were told don't expect more than 20 people at your shows. The European crowd just politely nod and applaud at the end of your songs. You're too much of a niche, don't expect people to recognize you there.
That's your Bloodywood, right?
Yes.
That's the Bloodywood. Fucking shit, seriously. Bloodywood? Yes. Bloodywood. Oh my god.
Ladies and gentlemen, from New Delhi, here's for you. 1, 2, 3.
So this is like, well, when I saw it, I had really goosebumps. It's teaser to a very nice documentary the band has created. There are like many interesting things about this clip. The main part in this is the band's performance at Wacken in Germany. Wacken is supposed to be the Mecca of metal. दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा जो metal fest है, that happens in Wacken. The band performed there in 2019
At the fest.
at the fest. They got that invitation. And they toured across Europe and UK. And the fun fact is, when they got this invite, they had never performed live.
Yeah, that's what was most remarkable in that teaser itself. Never having performed live, and Europe being a tough venue, like generally like across Europe when it comes to metal, not for beginners.
Exactly.
But by the way, like performing live, and the reason why this is such a big deal is because performing live and recording in a studio are two extremely different things.
Again,
Like
yes.
when you play in a recording studio, the guitarist can come in the morning 9 to 12, record his guitar tracks. Then the vocalist can come in the evening, do 3 hours of vocal recording. The drummer can do his separate thing from home and send a recording track, and the mixing will put it all together. You can literally do that. There is no like the live thing is very real, and to be able to pull off live takes a different level of effort and practice, and
or rather to debut live. I mean, like,
Yeah. So when they got this invitation to perform at Wacken, by that time they were a small their celebrity status online. So social media pe, on YouTube, on Instagram, they had some status. They had like few tracks which had hundreds of thousands of views at that time. I think one track had close to a million views. And this was a big surprise for them. It's very beautifully captured in the documentary they have made. I would strongly recommend to see that. And they had just a few months to go and perform and do this Europe tour. They did perform locally in that short window within India, in Delhi and Bangalore, at small places. But again, they never knew what to expect. They had never been to Europe as a performer. Before every performance, they were not sure what will be the crowd reaction. And when you look at that teaser, this is like their fourth or fifth performance. So by that time, they were expecting a little bit of reaction.
yeah.
But to get an encore at Wacken is goosebumps.
Yeah.
To see, a lady with Indian flag on shoulder of another guy in the crowd is goosebumps.
Yeah.
When you're entering the whole concert area, finding people wearing your t-shirts and waving your Bloodywood flag is goosebumps. And these guys were not even selling merchandise at that level, and people were wearing their t-shirts. To meet people in the subway, in the train across Europe who know you,
Yeah.
right? To meet the people who put a comment on your video in real life for the band was just an amazing roller coaster ride. And that's why I think the band is a huge story to be talked about, maybe a movie stuff.
But I can't remember another Indian band who had this kind of a welcome or even like the attention in rock or metal music festivals globally. Maybe there are a little more years. Like I remember Parikrama's one concert where they play that Lord of the Rings song they came up with.
This is Parikrama from India.
And that was quite memorable. But I can't, my memory, a good metal band that did this before them it doesn't come immediately. I don't know if you guys remember something.
I would like take this one step more to say, any Indian artist outside of maybe just classical music, where there is a more humble kind of a setup, even a pop artist or a Bollywood artist with a global audience. If A. Rahman goes to Singapore or UK, you will still see majority Indian diaspora coming to that concert.
Correct.
But an artist which is not just singing in English, right? They are not even just singing in English. They are using the Indian language of Hindi and Punjabi, both along with English. To gather such a huge audience globally is just amazing. And I feel there are multiple reasons behind it, and I would like to touch upon it. And even the genesis and the hard work and the struggle the band has gone through is a very interesting story. So let's talk about the band first, and then maybe we can talk about few reasons I feel the band got the success they got. I would love to hear you guys also, like how do you feel about the band, their sound. So the band Bloodywood is the brainchild of Karan Katiyar. He brought together the whole team on day one.
Karan Katiyar is the
guitarist. He's the guitarist.
Okay.
Karan Katiyar. By profession, he was working in the corporate sector as a lawyer in Delhi. In the beginning of the documentary, you can see the way they are living. I could really relate to it. A middle class housing society in the outer part of Delhi. Very relatable. He chanced upon and met the singer, the growl singer with long hair. His name is Jayant, in one of the shows. And they started jamming. They came together and they started recording and putting stuff out on YouTube. And they have done some really interesting, funny parodies of different genres mixed together, from Bombay rockers Ari Ari to Daler Mehendi, Tunak Tunak Tun, to Kin Park, heavy song with Kiara. So they created these multiple songs. Many of them were Bollywood parodies. So my guess is that's why the Bloodywood was like, Bollywood
Right.
kind of a sound.
Okay.
So I think that's where the band met. It will be just good to see one quick clip of their early parody songs. So I think Karan seems to be the voice, and he around the documentary, around all their PR stuff.
Does he also write the lyrics, Gopak?
I'm not. I think they have a mix. Like all three contribute. Rahul, who's the rapper, he writes, I think, his part, and Jayant and Karan mix. So he does write lyrics, but I think they all contribute to the lyrics. So interestingly, the three guys, the guitarist Karan, the growl vocalist Jayant, and Rahul, who's the rapper, these three are the permanent members, and others, the drummer, the dhol guy, they are more touring members. So they are not the permanent members of the band. So Jayant, Rahul, and Karan are the fixed members of the band. Karan started it, Jayant joined in, and Rahul joined in after a few years. So they did one number together. Both liked each other, and it added another contrasting layer, another tone, and the sound to the overall sound, which is interesting. In a way, like, new metal Linkin Park kind of feel with that rap.
Correct.
When did you come across Bloodywood? How did the introduction happen?
Thanks to YouTube, I got a recommendation of one of their latest songs called Danadan. That song, Danadan itself, has a very strong social message about harassment, rape, and one of the interesting things which caught my eye is that the song itself was gender neutral. And if you look at the comments, that it's not just talking about sexual harassment of women, but also men. And it's interesting to see even in the comments, so many people commenting and coming out to talk about their story.
Actually, same for me. That video, I think Gopak, you shared that video with me, and then I saw some reaction videos and comments about that video, and that song emotionally helped a lot of people cope with it, who had gone through it. And you can see comments on that video. It had a massive cathartic effect on so many people, like just listening to that song and relating to it, right?
Actually, we are talking about the song. Let's hear it. And I'd like to show the comments on that song as well.
I put a fist to the face of a rapist, and yeah, I take this for the viewing pleasure of the nameless faces he disgraces. And yeah, one day I may change his kind with my mind, but I won't bow to the beast, never make peace and feast. And if you're gonna let it eat to the white beat, I'm gonna get a beat another beat. I'm gonna get the hole in the seat, dead meat, delete going off like a time bomb. White heat, trickle out like a python, bonafide on my side. Then we're gonna ride all up into your mind, and then we're gonna take a trickle out, beat the name of. Take a hold your hands up, begin to shop. Take a take a dumb, take a dumb, take a dumb, take a bitch, take a money, ass, and dog. Love don't care, move, don't care.
I'd like to go through some of the comments below the video. So the first comment itself, right, with 10,000 likes, the comment has 10,000 likes. There is a woman talking that she read another comment of a woman crying, and this lady is saying that this is the 20th time I'm seeing these videos, still making me cry. And her own story, how she came from Japan to US, and she was sexually harassed multiple times for being different. It makes you feel, so many, what impact music can have, and how it can connect people from across geography, cultures, to share their own experiences and relate to music. So here is a piece of music which people can relate to very directly.
Yeah. Quite epic, actually, just to see the comments and the effect it has on people.
Like this one, right? I'm not an Indian, but I resonate with a lot of these lyrics. I was groped by a man in a mall in front of my mother, who later denied what had happened to my face. Later in my life, I'm almost the victim of an attempted rape by my boyfriend. Victims of rape should no longer be nameless, faceless numbers. And clearly saying it's nice to know that metal is a universal language. The energy that it helps you vent out is amazing. And there are multiple studies today which say and talk about how metalheads are probably the happiest people because they have a platform to vent out and they have that community feeling. Even though the outside stereotype might be these metalheads are only nuisance, they are trying to bully everyone, etc. But that's not true.
Metalheads are actually some of the happiest and most peaceful people around. It's even scientifically proven that listening to heavy metal has a positive impact on mental health. How's that, you ask? Well, reason number one is that metalheads feel like they're part of one big community. And what better place to see that than in metal Mecca, Wacken.
I'm not joking, I'm crying, guys, because it's so emotional for me.
Look at that guy, look at
really
that guy, he's kissing the ground.
Yeah.
He's crying.
Don't have any words.
These tough-looking metal fans aren't afraid to express their emotions as they share a moment of communal joy. Is there something special about metal? It might have to do with reason number two. Metal provides an outlet for stress and anger.
I'm convinced that metal elicits an effect in us that the ancient Greeks knew about and used in Greek tragedies. It's this theory of catharsis. You can translate that very roughly as cleansing.
You listen very powerful, aggressive sounds. After that, you don't need an aggression in your regular life. It's just you put it there, you canalize it in some kind of way. You don't let your aggression on your family, on your friends. You just listen to hard music. You let all aggression there, and in your regular life, you're just a normal person.
Heavy metal then can function as a kind of safe space. Negative emotions can be let loose on stage or in the mosh pit, and it does look more fun and more liberating than a therapy session.
And like in our own experience, some of my most down-to-earth, simple, humble friends are metalheads.
Yeah. I mean, of course, it has its natural association with very loud and like being very abrasive and drugs or I don't know what. But these songs talk about some very real, serious things. Of course, you can't make sense of the lyrics when you're listening to the songs and you're just grooving to the beat most of the time. But when you actually go and read those things, it's just fairly real.
I put a fist to the face of a rapist and Yaad. Take this for the viewing pleasure of the nameless faces, he disgraces and
The venting out part is real. Somewhere it has a calming effect on somebody who's gone through a certain kind of trauma, and here quite humbling, quite endearing to see the outpour of comments, especially from survivors out there on their YouTube page and from across the globe. The top comment with 10K likes, as you pointed out, not being from India, actually, that speaks of the connect which their art is, which their music is able to make with their audience. Amazing, phenomenal.
So when I said that this band took me to, in a way, a nostalgic trip, one of the first metal bands and albums that I heard was Iron Maiden's Blood Brother.
Yeah.
And when I heard like the lyrics really hit me, especially the song, the title track, Blood Brothers.
Blood Brothers, yeah. And I remember, so Yasir knows that we have a very good friend called TV who is Mr. Know-It-All. And as a young boy, I was probably 19 or 20 at that time. I was told that here is a British band performing in South America. And a person in the crowd comes up to the band and tells them that your song saved me from suicide. And that hit me. That is the power of music.
When you think that you've used all our chances and the chance to make everything right, keep on making the same old mistakes, makes untipping them out so easy. When we're living our lives on the edge, see a prayer on the board of the dead.
I didn't know at that age for the kind of exposure we had. That made me really believe in music. And anytime I'm down, I hear that album or a couple of their Metallica tracks, which pump me up, give me that boost. And I could find similar energy, similar power in the songs by this band, Bloodywood. For me, my favorite track is called G Veerey, which is about coming out of depression and pumping up and having a positive outlook towards life. And G Veerey is a Punjabi. Or if we say in English, G means live, Veerey is big brother. So live brother, not necessarily big, but like brother. So live brother, and maybe that brother connection. You have to live. Interestingly, some of these tracks were produced before COVID. And during COVID, a lot of people heard these songs in isolation. And we know there was a huge mental health crisis across the globe. And if you look at the comments, so many comments around that time are by people who were fighting mental health problems.
And it's been a really, really rough time. And Veerey was my go-to song when I was feeling good to empower me, and when I was feeling bad to drag me out of it. It's just the most moving piece of music I've ever heard.
And when these guys were traveling in Europe, they came across some of those people who traveled across countries, even from East Europe to Germany, to hear them.
Hi, I'm Susanna. I'm from Prague. I'm here with my man. We came on motorcycle
To Weisslo.
500 kilometers to see Bloodywood. I love the message. I love the verse. It's a gift message. I love the cheaper.
And they could relate to the band. They could relate to the artist. I think that is the power of music. So I like to play a G Veerey.
Let's go for it.
So the comments in these songs are even more powerful. The first comment itself says that you don't know me and probably you'll never see this. The person who wrote this comment would not have expected 2000 likes on this and this to be the top comment, but would have just posted it instantaneously. That I was on the verge of ending the insufferable pain, and this song came on randomly, and it changed my entire view of the situation I was in. So here is a song which has saved people, made so many people cry, made men cry, and that's again a common theme you'll see here. Interestingly, if I when I looked at the translation here, they're calling Veerey the brave one. I think it has both meanings. Veer is a brave person, and Veerey also means brother. So maybe they mean in both senses.
They call themselves the brave ones because we have a song called Jivire, which means live brave. They're the best. They're the best. They've been there since the beginning, and they're still there.
Here is a band picking up themes. I think these are timeless pieces of art. I think they have created, which will relate to they would have never guessed कि COVID जैसी कोई चीज आ सकती है where everybody will be locked down. This song was created before that.
I know, but I think what hit me was the starting. It almost started like Atif Aslam could have sung to that flute and acoustic guitar, and then it went into this. They have deliberately shot it in a very serene riverside mountain location, and the
featuring dogs also.
Featuring dogs, and the person who's playing the flute is sitting cross-legged next to a riverbank and playing it, closing his eyes. So there is that deliberate feeling of finding peace, but then also finding that power within to fight back, to face what you're facing, and then just go head on, right? So I mean, amazingly done. The song, the visuals, and everything that you can see.
You're right. In a way, that's what mountains do, right? Like when you go to the mountains, you see peace, calm,
Correct.
Makes you think. At the same time, you also see the hard life that locals have in mountains, and both go together. So it makes you appreciate nature, appreciate your own existence, and I think this kind of backdrop is quite justified for such a song.
Yeah,
indeed. Quite phenomenal. This particular track, the music particularly, I found it quite captivating. Like as soon as the dhol begins against like a wall of sound, that the metal guitar, amazing. The dhol sound really did it for me, and then the message itself so empowering. Reet se hi loha bane. So I would love to check this out in its entirety and go through how people are reacting to it, which is again like just like the previous track, this one as well. People are coming up with personal connections to the track, like how the track helped them change their course of life in different ways. So phenomenal.
For the first time, people were getting tattoos of our lyrics, and so many of them were in their own language. We got countless messages from people who had heard the song telling us how it helped them during their dark times. Some even went as far as to say that it saved their lives. In all our years of listening to and making music, this was the first time we understood its true power.
Yes, and the band is quite proactive and in a way inspirational to pick up themes which are usually not picked. So here is Karan, and he's talking about the theme behind the song.
Jivire is a song about fighting depression and mental illness. We've personally lost family and friends over several forms of mental illness, and the fault lies partly in us because we fail to realize that these are actual diseases. They're not just states of mind or something like that. So our patrons and us decided to do something beyond just sing about it. So we went ahead and we've bought 60 one-on-one counseling sessions with professional counselors for anyone who wants to reach out. These are one-on-one, 1 hour sessions on video or chat, whatever you would prefer. It's completely anonymous. So if any of you or anyone you know is going through any kind of problem, whether it be work, family, relationship, studies, career, whatever it is, just check the description.
So the band is quite active in picking up various social themes and contributing in various ways. In this, they have contributed to 60 counseling sessions, and they have touched upon multiple themes around bullying in school. There is a track called Endurant. There is another track about being close to nature, to animals and pets. In fact, when they toured Europe, they have contributed an ambulance for animals. And till date, I think I mentioned they have saved more than 20,000 animals.
India has a huge homeless animals population. Literally everywhere you look, you'll find homeless dogs on every street and every corner. They end up suffering road accidents, extreme starvation, diseases. There's not much that's been done in terms of animal welfare, so it's up to us to do as much as we can. Now, amongst us live heroes who really champion this purpose. They're basically not-for-profit, non-government organizations that are run by animal lovers. And one of those organizations is the Posh Foundation, where we are at today. So very recently, the van that they used to rescue these animals broke down due to overuse and became completely unusable. So from the money that we made on Raj Against the Machine tour last year, and through Patreon, we funded this new van to the Posh Foundation. Now this van, which they'll be using as their new ambulance, will take a total of 10 to 15 calls each day. And it's going to run for at least 5 years. So that's a total of 27,000 animals potentially saved. That's a huge number. It's by far the purchase that we're most proud of.
So that's an animal ambulance that they gave away. And they also have tracks about political commentary called Machi, Bhasad and Gaddar.
मजा आया
So they have touched upon multiple themes and they're quite vocal about it. And I think a couple of songs were also funded by Book Therapy, who promotes fighting mental health themes and depression themes. But this band was ready to pick up such themes, create such good lyrics, create such unique sound, and they were discovered. And this is a great success story for YouTube and various social media channels also, because if you read the comments, most of the songs are thrown upon people and they're randomly discovering this artist and this song. And that made their life, that made their day at least.
But I also feel this kind of music, to be able to write and get so many people to relate to it, it comes from a place of genuine feeling for that that theme or that topic, right? Maybe that's what drives them. Maybe that's what drives them to write about it and then eventually take action on that topic or theme in whatever capacity they can, be it around the politics in India, be it around abuse, be it around depression, be it around animals. All these themes might be quite relatable to different members of the band.
Totally. And this is, I think, for me, the main reason, probably the top reason for them to be picked up and have that global appeal. Besides that, like, I have a few more hypotheses. As I was watching Bloodywood, I also discovered multiple artists globally which are fusing their own regional and local sounds over the typical metal theme.
God, allow me please to play music. God, allow me please to play music. God, allow me please to play music. God, allow me.
That typical metal theme can be thrash metal of Metallica, or death metal sound, or new metal of Linkin Park. That is slightly variable. Even though I would say majority are following the base of Metallica kind of sound, the middle-aged Metallica, the Black Album stage, or a little bit of their first 3 albums. There are so many bands in Mongolia, in New Zealand, in Japan, in Taiwan, in South America. I discovered multiple artists. And in our own India, I realized, okay, obviously the bands we had talked about previously, like Avial, Thaikkudam Bridge, they have also beautifully mixed the various folk songs or pop sounds of India with the global metal stage. And in some way, I was reading about it, and there has been, to some extent, a resurgence of metal globally over last half a decade, and especially during COVID. This gave an avenue for a lot of people to vent out their feelings when there was nobody to talk to, nobody to meet, no place to go to, and you are with music. Basically is such a good accompany to you, and the metal sound just does that. It's not fancy, funny, but it is something which comes from deep within, hits you hard, and a lot of people were in that place around that time. So a couple of artists I would like to talk about on the global metal scene also. The one which I liked the most is a band from Mongolia. This is a band called The Who from Mongolia, and they have a huge global audience today. And in fact, their songs have been used in a couple of series, movies, and some games as well. So here's The Who. This is my favorite, called Yuve Yuve Yu. This particular song, I think, is less heavy metal, but more melodious and thoda ZZ Top kind of feel it kind of gave me. But like, it's interesting how the throat singing completely blends with the guitar sound and overlaying with other string instruments.
Yeah, that
from
string instrument is has a very interesting sound. The 2-string one, whatever it is called.
Yes. One of their popular songs is also a Metallica cover. I think they've done a forgive me. They are also opened for Metallica in a few shows. Sad but true.
Yeah.
Just play a small part of it.
So now sad but true.
I think there are multiple Mongolian throat singing artists which have combined metal, and in some ways, at least I felt this is an extension of all the Scandinavian metal bands. So that whole dark kind of theme with these feather coats and heavy usage and those mountainous backdrops, it just somehow gels with the whole theme, and this seems to be an extension of that to me. What do you guys think?
You know what the throat singing reminds me of? I don't know if you guys saw Dune 2 or even the first Dune.
So the first one I saw, I yet to see the second one.
So if you saw the first one, when the emperor sends the Sardukar army, there is that voice chanting that happens before the army is about to go off. That voice chanting is what this throat singing reminded me of. That the sound that Hans Zimmer created with that voice chanting is probably inspired.
Right, and it's interesting, you know, their songs actually have been picked up for Star Wars video game, the Jedi. But I was also thinking maybe there is other side key to the Hollywood audience. These are alien sounds.
Yeah,
they are not the sounds you hear every day. Even if you look at other Star Wars kind of series or
extraterrestrial.
So even there are like mantras, etc. You know, Japanese, Indian in the background humming, because that is like an alien sound for the Westerners. So it is a little bit of stereotype, interesting, but in Dune, as you say, right, that throat singing might be an alien sound, but it's a natural sound here.
Correct.
Depicted as an alien sound for somebody.
Yeah.
So the next one is something super interesting. It's less of folk, but a Japanese pop blended with metal. This band is actually more than a decade old. It has evolved over the years. It's a band called Babymetal. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but let me just show a glimpse of one of their most popular songs called Give Me Chocolate. The name, in a way, is a giveaway of the kind of song you can expect. this is a band I'm really looking forward to watch live, because as a band they seem to be very tight, amazing guitaring, such a choreographed performance on stage. So this genre is called a Kawaii, Kawaii, metal in Japan, and it's a blend of J-pop, similar to K-pop, which uses this idol, American Idol, Japan Idol kind of person as a face. And these three are actually singing, and they are the band. The rest of the band keeps changing. The lineup has changed a little bit over the years, but like I think two out of the three original girls still remain, and one of them has changed. I found it very interesting, very catchy, and something to be enjoyed live. They have many songs. They have like close to 3 million subscribers itself and multiple million views. And this song itself, I think, is more than 10 years old. Yeah, 10 years, 191 million views. So they have been quite a sensation, and definitely they are seeing a revival along with other metal bands globally.
This is like the biggest event in metal.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bloodywood is back.
Few other mentions, might not be able to play their songs. Like there is a band similar to throat singing style. There is another singing style in New Zealand, and the band is called Alien Weaponary. Another interesting band. Maybe I can show a small glimpse of that. So the language they are singing in is called Maori language, which is the native language in New Zealand.
Maori.
And you would have seen, I think, across sports, across politics, there has been a revival and support of Maori traditions, culture, and language. And this band probably has some tailwinds around that overall revival that is happening in New Zealand. So, to me, I think this overall, I see two things here, right? One is there is a revival of metal scene globally, and there is a regional, local overlay over that tradition, and maybe it is to do with the times that we are living in. The people are more open by having more exposure. The world is a small place thanks to online platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, where these new sounds are not necessarily alien for you, and you are able to evolve and appreciate, find the right context to that sound. And it is amazing for artists to discover audience through such platforms at a global scale. And it's both ways for listeners like us to discover such artists and many other listeners across the globe to discover new artists. It's an interesting time, and same for the artist.
Yeah.
So these are the two big tailwinds I feel behind the overall folk metal and regional metal scene.
Oh, well put. And I also feel of all the various bands that you shared, Gupak, in my mind, still Bloodywood stands out from even that cohort purely because of the themes that they are able to pick and talk about. And in a very honest, in a very coming directly from their own experiences and relatable way, which I think was quite unique. And I would say, while there is a bit of a revival of this sound and metal, and I feel it never went away. It was just a small community which was always passionate about it, will always remain. A lot of reactions that I see from friends and family when I play these songs is they just while they are listening to the sound, they mentally shut off because it's too loud and it's too noisy and this thing. My only request to people who are seeing this or listening to this is give this sound a chance. Go behind the loudness and the noise and listen to the feeling. Listen to the message that is being conveyed. Listen to what it's trying to shout in your ears, which probably wouldn't land if they would say it nicely. So that's probably what I would leave our audience with.
I think I agree somewhere with Varun on this one. It might not have been peaking the charts for a number of years, or it might have been peaking the charts in a certain era, somewhere around the late 80s when it comes to Metallica, Megadeth, the Big Four, and then new metal wave. But I feel it maybe never went away at all. And at the same time, in terms of what these sounds are evoking, I find it really interesting and remarkable that the venting out the sentiment of a certain kind of internal angst, bringing a sense of calm to the listeners, to the audience.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's quite interesting to me. So power to Bloodywood, power to all these artists who are trying to revive things which might have faded out from the mainstream attention. And thanks, Gopa, for walking us through all these new interesting sounds.
For me, Bloodywood is more than just their song and music. They are like Sachin Tendulkar for me, in a way. They are a story from being in a middle class income flat in Noida and South Delhi and East Delhi, quietly struggling and iterating. We didn't get much chance to play their early songs, but they have struggled over the years, taken the risk, taken the leap to go away from their corporate job, built slowly an online audience, got an opportunity, worked hard to really, tap on that opportunity, go to Germany, Europe, and crack that global audience. So they have done that. When you look at behind the scenes for them, it is just beautiful to see that how relatable these kids are. That here is a guy who is working hard. Here is a guy जिसको मम्मी से अभी भी डांट पड़ रही है, उसको खाने का भी शौक है. There is another guy who is a bit anxious, who wants to make a point. So it's a good mix of guys like us who we can relate to, going abroad, cracking that global audience, and being probably one of the most popular metal bands on the scene.
Yeah, awesome. This has been a great find, Gupak. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, guys.
And we're like, boys, this is it.
For every person who said we wouldn't make it, there were hundreds who believed we were destined to. For every word of ridicule and dismissal, there were thousands in encouragement. This story isn't just about us. It's about the ones who believed in us. The ones who consider us family without ever having met. The ones who shower us with hope while ignoring their own misfortunes. The ones who smile the brightest while battling their inner demons. This story isn't just about us. It's about the brave ones who wear their battle scars with pride.